But all right, anyway, yeah, Mason, you ready for a clap sync, buddy? Oh,
You
can't do it with your strong hand.
you gotta put your fingers into it, buddy.
No.
You have to date this
The
podcast
metal
and
might
put that
make
up
it
there.
have a little bit of,
Yeah, ding.
a little bit of a ting.
Yeah.
Sounds like alloy.
Welcome to another honestly crowded episode of the FN Podcast movie review. Try something new.
Yeah,
I didn't like it.
That was hard.
It's already new because you're on the side.
I know.
You're never on the
No,
side.
yeah.
The seating
what's
arrangement's all
happened
messed up.
here?
I just ended up sitting here because nobody was here yet. Price and Kelly were sorting out where they were sitting, and I knew I was going to switch, but Mason already went ahead and sat there, so I got stuck in the dark hole spot.
I'm on the high point.
And frankly, this is a dark hole. I won't get up from the spot.
No.
It will be
You're on the
Yeah,
ground.
it sinks
Yeah.
like a V.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, continue.
So today we are reviewing what, Nathan?
The Green Knight.
The Green Hornet. No,
Yes,
the Green
that's
Knight.
I
That's.
wish.
The Wasp versus the Hornet or
Mm.
whatever.
I think there's-
Quantumanium or whatever.
Yeah.
I just watched that.
Did you?
Yeah, there was a new one
Yeah.
out recently.
Yeah.
Is it as bad as people said?
No,
Okay, I didn't think so.
no, it never is.
But that's
Yeah.
not what we're here to talk about.
But we're not here to talk about all those ones. We're here to talk about the Green Knight. What's the Green Knight about?
It's a classic Arthurian tale,
Mm-hmm.
and it is pretty close,
Yeah.
actually, to the original story.
Hmm.
Whether that's a good or a bad thing, I guess we'll have to get into. But
Mhm.
basically,
I'm excited
we've
to
got
hear it.
the nephew of King Arthur
Mm-hmm.
being challenged by a Green Knight on Christmas Day to face him in combat and deal him a blow in any way in which he chooses, and an equal blow will be given back to him. So immediately,
This
Yeah.
man.
this
This
fool-
guy.
this fool cuts off a head.
Rather than a finger
Yeah.
or anything
Or
like
a little
that.
poke.
Yeah, just a nice, gentle little like.
You know what?
scratch.
He could have knighted the knight. He could have just been.
Oh yeah, he could have been way more chill about
But
it.
What
this
a game.
This man price belled his way right through this guy's neck.
Yes,
I
he
mean,
did.
you see a plant man come into your building,
Right.
and you think, oh,
And everyone's
I'll just
horrified.
cut his head off because nobody's gonna live past that. I won't have to worry about what happens next.
Joke's on you.
Yeah.
He's a dryad knight. And he just laughs with his head all the way back home.
Dang.
Which,
And what happens after that, Nathan?
Hijinks and stuff.
you know, what happens after that is it skips a year pretty much.
Yeah.
From just
364 days later.
just doing much of nothing, like just really
Yeah.
proving that he's not knight material. He's not even trying to do anything
No.
to better himself.
No.
So we were under the assumption that there would be some growth after he cut this Groot man's head off.
He doesn't use the gnarly axe that he
He's
gets
Grandpa
gifted
Groot.
for all of this. I would have thought he would have became like a cool like axe warrior and like that.
Well,
that-
he would've
Yeah,
had
yeah,
some,
but
like,
no. Instead,
garb.
he puts it in a trunk basically and leaves it there.
yeah.
And
For
by
a
the time
year.
he opens it back up, there's moss growing up out of it.
I'll tell you right now.
Visually, there's a lot of cool stuff going on here, but our lead character sucks.
Yeah.
And it's because that's what he is in the story too. Originally, this is faithful to the original tale, and Arthur's nephew's just a complete heel.
So one thing too at the very beginning, I don't know if you guys caught it at the very end, not to skip way far ahead.
You are.
He is saying, "I'm ready" at the very, very end.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Which time?
At
Because
the
he does
very-
say it like
he does
about 3
say
or
it
4
2
times.
or 3 times. But at the very beginning, whenever she's like saying, "Hey, you know, we got to go meet your uncle. We got to go to get to the thing," he's like, "I'm not ready. I'm not ready." I don't know if you guys caught that, but it was almost like a, I don't
Like
know.
a-
I
a
saw the
payback
parallels
to that
between
movie.
I saw
Yeah.
that on Reddit. Yeah.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. Well, I just
Yeah.
noticed it. And I was like, that's like the only cool connection in this whole, really,
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, I thought it was weird that there's a jizz rag.
Yeah, yeah.
Kind of was.
I gotta say, you don't often see just like cum on somebody's hand.
You know, not in
a
movies.
movie.
I'll say I was a little taken aback, but I was
Jill's
not.
face.
That frankly though.
It's like, what the hell are they watching?
You really missed out,
That's,
Jill.
see, that's what you missed out on, Jill. Is that I will
She
say.
doesn't care.
I will say overall, that may affect my score. You know,
Yeah.
I can't.
Yeah.
I truthfully,
Hey, you saw giants naked, though.
not as naked
I
as they
feel
should
like
have been.
in the lighthouse.
And that was a weird Attack on Titan.
It
There's
was.
there's a scene in the lighthouse that definitely is like just
Dripping.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I know the
yeah.
one you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No.
So that it's not exclusive to this movie This might be a new
A24
trend in
likes it.
cinema. Yeah.
Right.
In
A24
A24 cinema.
That's starting to become a box that they have to check.
Yeah.
And it's, for whatever reason, in the past 2 years, they've really honed in on that market.
So, relative to like seeing the jisms, because frankly, I think it's the first time I've seen that in like a movie.
Hmm.
Like other than
You should watch
Scary Movie
Infinity
2.
Pool, because they absolutely did that.
And what?
Okay.
Infinity Pool, the new Alexander Skarsgård movie with
Oh,
Mia Goth.
I got to get around to watching.
It's
Northman
not that
first.
good. It's
Yeah.
okay. It's kind of like Flatliners, but
Mia's always getting naked though. Is she naked in that movie?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll
Eventually.
watch it.
She makes you work for it, though. She makes you work for it.
Ah, I don't like that.
Same thing, though.
Yeah.
A little drippage of that, and it's uncomfortable as ever. Anyways.
So I guess like tying that into like
Terrible way to start our
the
review.
little bit of, I'm gonna mention the nudity and I'm gonna come back
Sorry,
to it
Mom.
at the end of the review. Sorry, Mom.
No.
Sorry, Kelly Senior. I don't know a better way to describe that. So,
I
but
mean, it was very upfront about it.
it is. It's not subtle.
Well, I thought you were talking about the green scarf, too.
No,
because
the
that
I
whole-
was
had
very-
the belt.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and that's a very strong point that, again, is also similar to the original story. But, I mean, just imagine you're wearing that.
Yeah.
throughout.
The
for,
entire
for
time.
years, until he's an old man.
Yeah.
In this, like...
And I don't see them ever
perceived
wash it because
imagery.
if it
Oh,
goes
'cause
off,
he
that's
goes
like
off.
Yeah.
right. That's
He's
well,
done.
I'm gonna die. So like that thing's crusty.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we gotta explain a little bit about that. It's like it's a magic belt that makes it to where no harm
Oh,
can
okay.
befall him.
Because his
Right.
mom, who's like a witch,
Yeah,
kinda
just
person.
witching in the background.
Yeah, she makes that for him so he'll live and be
Which
fine.
I think it deviates a little bit in the tale here because in the original tale, the Green Knight is actually King Arthur trying to
Yeah,
test
it's like
his
test his
nephew,
metal, right?
and he
And this
does
one's
get
Joel
cut
Edgerton.
by the axe when it hits his neck, but it only leaves like a small cut
Gash or
Mhm.
something.
because of this belt. So it does kind of vary a little bit from the original.
Right, and every time I kept looking into like this movie's like behind the scenes stuff and like trying to get a little bit bigger picture, everybody seems to be very sure that the director's like, no, he cuts his head off, like he dies at the end of this one. That's the director's take on it
Yeah.
because the story is supposed to be
Well,
Yeah,
some-
it leaves it
the
to where you
movie is supposed to be
decide.
leaving it ambiguous, but
well, he
they
also
just-
smirks at him too. Like
Yeah.
that's what makes it so ambiguous, and you're like, I mean, maybe.
So
you know?
we're leaping way at the end. I wanna touch base with him like starting his journey because the whole beginning part of him getting the whole thing rolling, but he bumps into what's his face from Irishman.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the Ernest is
Yeah, the Children of Ed Sheeran or
His
whatever.
name's
Uh,
Barry something.
You're talking
Yeah.
about the scene in the like battlefield,
Right, where he
Yeah.
bumps into the guy and he's like, "Yeah, you got to take the
Oh,
the
the
river
thief.
and go."
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
The-
clearly
the young
demented.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
the whole point of this
Banshees of
and
Inisherin.
all the characters he meets is that it's supposed to be like the 5 virtues of a knight that
Yeah.
he's being tested on,
Mhm.
and this one is supposed to be the virtue of charity,
Mhm.
which he fails at.
Yeah, well, he stingily gives him one coin,
Yeah.
but in the entire
And
time
then
they're
gets
just like,
paid back for having
Right.
not really done enough.
so, like we meet him, he gets robbed, he gets tied up. They pan around for a while, and then they show like the skeleton. And honestly, I was kind of relieved. I was like, all right, let's change it up because this guy sucks. And then they're like, okay, no, but that's how he sees it. He's not really the case. I think overall, like, I quote that scene in specific because it's playing with the idea of, like, the fantasy storytelling aspect, right? And I'll say right off the cuff that this movie pretty much lives or dies on cinematography, and the
Oh,
cinematography is doing a great job.
absolutely, it does.
Yeah,
The
that's
story is this big,
Yes.
but the cinematography and the angles and the camera work and all of just the visuals, period, are much more massive.
really great. But, and I have a love-hate relationship with it, though, because there are times where I think that it's really good that they sit there and it's just like nothing's being said. They're just letting the scene sit there. But it's not, like, at times I'm like, okay, this feels like I'm setting up a good, healthy tone. At other times, they're doing the Quentin Tarantino thing where they let the scenes go on for way too long, and I just feel like, wow, we're just sitting here, huh? People got paid for this.
I don't think there's a scene that doesn't go on way too long.
No, yeah.
Like,
yeah.
this whole movie will spend all of its time overdoing every single possible scene.
Here.
Look at all these pretty shots we did, and it just made me
I
feel
mean,
like I was watching The
It
Revenant.
is
again.
pretty, but it just like
Yeah.
it sits on all of them too
Yeah.
long,
Yeah.
to where you
Yeah.
just you're like, yeah, okay, I get it. It's
Ooh.
nice, but it would be a lot nicer.
Joel
if I got
Edgerton,
see
you didn't even
more.
get to see tongue with him making out with Dev Patel, and I thought that was fucked up too.
If he was into it,
Yeah,
he was into
they
it.
better smash.
This is gonna be a Whiplash situation. They better.
Yeah.
They need to make out.
My biggest critique of Whiplash afterwards is that I didn't see them bang on stage
Same
right
thing
after.
here. Yeah.
Chemistry.
Well, that goes back to the original tale. He doesn't.
They don't
No,
bang?
they don't pull on
You mean to
bang.
tell me?
He doesn't just take his head afterwards?
But it is
back to the room?
accurate that like he is supposed to give him a
Yeah.
kiss,
Yeah.
and it's like a couple of times that he like gives him one kiss, then gives him 2 kisses, and
Oh, big
then on the
smoosher?
third time he gives him 3 kisses.
Oh, all
Even though
right.
he's supposed to have given him the belt because that's what he was really given there.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, man, this is starting to sound like, I kind of like the written story a little bit
Yeah.
more then. All right.
The written story is very odd. Like it's really, it's such a strange tale to want to like make a modern movie out of.
Yeah.
In general, like it
Well-
sounds cool, and there's a lot. Like this movie looks great as a trailer,
Mm-hmm.
but then you have to watch a 2-hour long.
Right, but then
film
they were like,
about-
Shh, 2 hours? You know, like, that's what directors, and they're
and
like,
it's
yeah.
like 2 hours of leading up to the couple of snippets that were actually in the trailer that
Yeah.
had you engaged out of the start.
Right. I think that they're, like, at times it's doing a very, I think at least good job of making it feel like this, like, modern fantasy translation, right? Where it's like, what's on screen, it can look very mundane, but there's just, like, this undertone of, you know, lore and magic and things like that. It's just even, again, whenever you're having the thieves rob them and stuff like that, it feels as though this is, like, this weird predestined, and again, they're supposed to be symbolic of the
Yeah.
virtues and stuff.
Well,
And
it almost makes you think that these thieves are like a part of his trial.
Right, like, it
indirectly.
feels like everybody's kind of in on it. Which,
But a lot of this movie is trying to also just, it doesn't ever overtly tell you that it is him telling what happened to
Mhm,
him,
mhm.
but that's what it's supposed to be. Is like, he is
His own narrator. of
Yeah,
the
he
story.
is his own narrator. He's an unreliable narrator.
Mhm.
He's hallucinating at different points, like whenever you see the mushrooms.
Those
and such.
mushrooms. Hannah was watching this with me, and she immediately was like, "Oh, that's a mistake.
Oh,
You don't do that."
Yeah.
And then I was like,
Yeah, and then throw a
"What's-
little bit to your pet wolf.
Yeah,
Yeah,
or
fox
fox
or
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 whatever.
Fox.
Uh,
Which
Damn furries ruin everything.
Speaking of, I thought the weirdest storyline was like whenever he went to the spirit house.
That's exactly what I was going to bring up next.
Because like she didn't make a whole lot of sense to me. I'm sure that's one of the virtues.
It is one. I can't remember which one that's called.
But just the fact that like she was with him there at the very very end.
Yeah.
But then him also asking like for a reward
Mhm.
that was him.
She's like, "Why would you
not
ask
being
me
a
that?"
knight.
And
Yeah,
literally, I was like, "She's
not-
right."
Not only not would you ask me that, you should never ask me that. Like just
Right.
very like judgmental of
She's
like
straight
you're
up said
like
it.
I know you're supposed to be a knight. You're not acting like a knight.
Right. Honestly, that was one of my favorite parts of the movie. Like, I think it's a
I didn't
weird
hate
place.
that part. Like
Well,
I
it
thought
wasn't
that
too
was,
long or anything.
Like, and that's when
No.
it was really starting to lean into being like, okay, this is all very deliberately stuff put along his way, which
Yeah.
is pretty true with the story because it's his mother testing him and trying
Mhm.
to send him on this journey to actually become worthy as a knight.
Right.
Gotcha. Well, guys, anything?
No, I just didn't like this movie.
Okay.
I don't know. I haven't said anything because I don't have anything positive to say.
Well, articulate. We don't have to. We don't. Oh, buddy, I don't know if you know this about this
what
podcast.
did you think about it? Doing a speed run through his entire life in the last like 15 minutes of the movie.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of like that. It's just the
Like that's where the pace actually felt good.
Appropriate.
Well,
Yeah.
it was also just the biggest payoff because you're sitting here, like, I think we all expected him to just run away or not even show up in the first place, right? So he goes on, he lives his life with his belt. He lives this pretty unhappy lifestyle. You know, he becomes king, whatever, has some kids running around, but he's hating it.
Yeah.
And then it flashes back to the reality of it, and he's basically just getting his head cut off. So I don't know.
Well, so the motif that's supposed to be about is just the inescapability of death.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it doesn't matter
Sure.
if you die right now or if you die later in life. Regardless, you're gonna die.
Yeah.
So like even if you live, like even if you escape this moment and live forever, it's like you're never gonna escape it.
See, I thought you would say that, which is why I've bundled together about 9
Mhm.
jizz rags.
Okay.
And I've made a sash that I'm
Yeah.
going to wear from now until
until
at
you
least
decide
every-
that you've really ruined your life and
Until
then
it's
take it
kinda
off.
over.
Then you're gonna take it
Until-
off, and your head's gonna just plop to the floor.
yeah, and that'll
I mean,
be it.
That would be kind of a cool way to go. I
Yeah.
mean, minus the fact
Right.
that you're having to wear that for the rest of your life.
It sounds
Probably
itchy.
stinky.
It
Yeah,
sounds itchy, kind of
yeah.
stinky.
Well-
I feel like it would give me a rash.
well, this movie is about its cinematography and about its symbolism.
Mhm.
What are two things that I do not care for in movies?
Soundtrack and character development.
Cinematography and symbolism.
Well,
It's
boy,
just
are you okay?
Kelly
Because-
Laskus, he doesn't try.
it just indulges itself the entire movie on things like I do not care about. And like we said just before this we started doing this podcast was I was watching this. Kelly was in the room at the same time, and he was just riding his horse for the longest time. And I was like, I'm going to go pee real quick, and I bet when I come back, he is still going to be riding that same damn horse. Lo and behold, he still was. When I got out, I peed, washed my hands, did a handstand, and he was still
I don't believe you. I don't
still
believe in that.
riding that stupid horse. It's like,
He
just
never
get on
loses.
with it. Just do something. This movie does nothing the whole time. This movie could have been 45 minutes long and would have accomplished exactly what it did
Well,
in 2 hours.
I feel like the story that Nathan's kind of bringing up is like could have been a short story. You know, it could have been a 15-minute short. of
45
just-
minutes.
Yeah.
That's all it needed.
I think it could have been a little more open with the way in which it interpreted the original story. It could have made it more of a movie fitting to the length that
He
they
could have used some tongue.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I think
I mean, he was given the guy was giving him like the fruits of his hunt every day.
Yeah.
He could have given him some time.
Right, you could have gave him some time.
Come on,
You
he
could have
was
caressed
so
the hair.
charming. He
He
was
could
so
have nibbled on his
charming.
ears just a little bit. I mean, he was kissing down from the horse, so he's doing all the work here.
Smooch.
And Joel Edgerton, he's a lover. We've known this from Warrior.
We
he,
do.
He fights for his
Yeah,
family.
and he hugged.
Yeah.
when he
Oh,
hugged,
he's a big hugger.
Tom
He's a
Hardy.
big hugger.
big hugger.
You,
Yeah.
you love Alicia Vikander. You haven't
So,
said
so
one thing
that's
about
what I was
her.
Okay,
Oh, yeah,
maybe
but-
I'm an idiot. Why is
Yeah.
she in multiple places?
Why is she like?
Oh,
two
like representative
Yeah.
as like.
It-
She's the
it's
prostitute
because-
and the
yeah.
queen
Right.
lady.
Okay.
It's because it's the unreliable narrator and his telling of his own tale,
Mhm.
and
So
that's
he-
why
he is
he's using the
copy-pasted.
same person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For
Okay.
both of these people.
I never got this as being from like his perspective.
I
That,
didn't
so that's
either.
the thing is you don't really get a good sense of that. This
Mhm.
movie doesn't do a good job of telling you that that's what's happening, but that is very much what's happening.
To be fair, Price, even if they did, I'll tell you how they do it, and you hate it for it. He's gonna
Oh,
be
man.
like, record screech. Now you're probably wondering how I got here. And then you're like,
spoken kind of
yes, yes. And then you're gonna be like, fuck this movie for its condescending narrator. And that's what would have happened. So they said, you know what? We'll meet Price halfway on
We're
this
gonna
one.
we're gonna try to sneak one in on.
We're
it.
gonna be so subtle that you may not even catch it, but
Well,
yeah.
I unfortunately just watched the movie Men. If any of you all have heard of that, and I was talking to him about it. It is god awful. But the whole thing is about her view on how like her view of men has shifted since her and her husband divorced or whatever. And every guy in the movie is played by the same guy. Like it's a little kid, they
Wait,
like
is it-
CGI him over a kid's body. Like he plays every person in the town because that's her seeing all men as the same.
like the new
that
Ari
makes
Aster
sense.
movie.
No. I was gonna say, who's the Johnson Malkovich?
Yeah,
was it
being
Malkovich
John
that
Malkovich.
played it?
Yeah, it's kind of like that.
yeah.
The dining room scene.
It's kind of
with
like
John
that,
Malkovich.
but what I'm connecting is that the unreliable narrator part, even though it doesn't expressly tell you in that movie, you get that from everything it's showing you.
Yeah.
I never got the impression that.
yeah, the
there was an
like,
unreliable
the
narrator.
only opening hint to it is the whole skeletal scene,
Mhm.
where it's just like he just envisions
Yeah.
himself being dead.
Dying
even
right
though
there.
he's
I didn't catch that,
So
and I understand Foxcatcher.
who directed? Shut
Like,
up.
it-
You
Also not catching Little Prince, the very obvious scene.
I don't remember the Little Prince anymore.
That movie was so good.
Little Prince was
Come on,
good.
Joe, come talk about the Little
So,
Prince.
really quick, who it wasn't Ari Aster who directed this. I know it's not, because it was like...
No, it wasn't.
I can't think of
forget.
his name. He's
Spielberg.
No.
He's done a few other movies, and he like one of the things he really likes to hammer on is the inevitability of death.
Yeah.
And he will like have moments where a character will just monologue about how everybody's going to die, and it doesn't matter what anyone
Could've been
does.
that, I'm thinking of
So
ending
this
things.
this
It might have been the
one
same
he was
dude.
at least a little
God.
It
more
might have
like
been.
That movie.
a little more nuanced in his delivery.
Yeah, compared
But
to the
he
obvious like rant
definitely
about it.
this director has a fascination with death.
Yeah, so I felt like this movie felt so much like The Vivitch, or better known as The Witch.
Mhm.
And like it just felt very Ari Aster-y in its way, which makes sense. It's A24, so I feel like a lot of that influence is like crossing over between directors and that.
Mm-mm.
What are you boys looking for?
We found
The
the director.
director.
He did Ghost Story that had Kristen Stewart in it, and Pete's Dragon.
Pete's Dragon.
Yeah.
Is that the inevitability of death?
That one's a little lighter.
Did the dragon
Yeah,
die?
that was the one I was specifically talking about.
Wait, okay,
Did
pause.
Porter Pete
Did he
die?
ride the same dragon throughout the entire movie? And also, would that bother you?
In Pete's
Speaking
Dragon?
of-
Yeah.
I've never seen it.
This movie reminded me a lot of
animated.
Beowulf. It had a lot of Excalibur and Beowulf type like.
I can see the
Excalibur,
Beowulf
I saw
on it,
big
yeah.
time.
The Excalibur comparison is very
It's
strong
very apt, it's
because
very apt,
you're.
yeah.
I mean, it's
It's Arthurian.
yeah, it's
him taking
Arthurian,
around.
and it's also overly long.
Right.
Like just think
Excalibur
of
is
the
too
latter
long.
half of Excalibur where it's like isn't it mostly Sir Lancelot for like
Lancelot,
a huge
yeah.
section
Wasn't
of it?
that the chrome
Yeah.
plated?
Yeah,
dude?
that's
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
super
So-
Shiny.
like
It's
grilled out
And
chrome.
then this
like,
movie decided, like, that part of Excalibur, what if we made that most of the movie?
but not all of it.
Yeah,
But
just like 90% of the movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, one more comparison that I thought this movie was identical to.
Go
Me,
for
myself, and Irene.
Break.
Life of Pi.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
What?
Life of Pi is basically just this dude that's stranded going on a journey to wherever he can with a tiger, Red Fox.
Yep.
And he comes across these
Kinda.
random things like an island that's full of monkeys that turns into evil monkeys at nighttime or whenever it rains or something.
That's the Wizard of Oz.
It's starting to sound like Donkey Island, or rather Pleasure Island. Sorry, from
What?
Pinocchio.
Oh, yeah.
Oh. Well, anyways, this movie was just like that where there's a lot of hallucinations. Was it real? Is this imagination? Just running wild.
Mhm.
And this thing is kind of similar. And it's also got an Indian main character.
Yeah.
Oh,
Not
actually,
Dev
okay.
Patel, it's
Yeah,
it's another guy,
Okay, gotcha.
That's what those movies are
Well, I mean, do we even need to discuss the, length of this movie? I feel
No.
like-
Fat
I feel
then
like
really on,
everybody
on
does.
three. If we have, we'll see it. And audience, you can chime in if you want. Okay,
Yeah.
one.
She's thick.
Real thick.
This is a fat movie, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alright.
So
Yeah, I
fatty.
mean,
It's,
Yeah.
it's morbidly
Like,
obese.
Okay.
I don't hate this movie,
Yeah.
but it
Hell,
is
she's not.
it's overindulgence.
Like my 600-pound life fat.
Yeah.
It's only 2 hours long.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Yeah.
it could be.
But it
much
feels
more.
like
if
three,
it,
and
if
that's
it were,
sorry,
if it were an
yeah.
hour 30, I think that because you could
Yeah,
cut
hour
like
30
you could
you
cut 20 to 25% of most scenes.
He
and
could
it would
ride
be
his horse
fine.
for 10 minutes instead of 30.
Like it would still be like kind of like long and lingering, but it would still like move a little bit quicker and
Yeah.
save you 25% of your time.
Well, and that tracks for you though, because you've said several times before your favorite horse movie is Never Ending Story. When he goes into the bog, and you said "fuck that horse." Get a new,
Hope it
get a
dies
new
in
one.
the movie and in real life.
Get a new one, and then they got the dragon, and then you said, "See, I get it." Like,
Yeah,
all
I'm on
right.
board with this.
Totally.
Question. You got a question? I got a question. If you don't.
Sure, yes, throw it out there.
Okay. The question is, it is an incredibly incredibly mundane item, right? So the guy got an axe for effectively his
Mhm.
life for his
Yeah.
head, right?
Mhm.
Okay. What's the most mundane thing you can think of to be like, or what would it have to take for you to not use this thing? Because there's no way if I'm a knight, I would not have an axe, but I'd be like, okay, it would have to be like a double-sided fork or like a spork or something for me to have to not use this thing for a year, and it cost me my life effectively. What item would you not use? Sorry, that's the best way to word that.
Okay, so the premise is you
get gifted
you basically
something.
you are him. You've already screwed up.
Yeah.
You somehow severed the head of the knight with
Yes.
whatever this item is.
Yes.
And now you're just like, well, that was stupid. I
Right.
guess I'm gonna put this in a box.
Right, but it's not an axe. What item is it that you're like, it would... You don't even have the motivation to use that for a year.
And it has to be something I could chop off a head with.
Maybe. I mean, I guess
If you
that's...
work
Fork is
at
gonna
it.
take you a long
If
time.
you work at it, anything can make it work.
Right, exactly. See, Mason's got the right idea.
Mm. I'm gonna say like a microwave oven.
A microwave oven.
Yeah, for sure.
But you wouldn't use it?
No.
I know you would.
How are you chopping a head off with a microwave?
Just
All right,
like
Mr.
a-
Fork.
Get a cement mixer, just stick his head in it
Yeah.
and just slowly turns it.
Yeah.
Just corkscrews
One of
it
those
off.
KitchenAid type mixers, like countertop mixers.
As long as this movie was, they could have let it run at least several
Oh,
times.
they would have too.
Yeah, they would've.
He would have been in there trying to fish his head
Yeah.
out of the cement mixer.
Can't
I
grab it.
can't grab it.
You're trying to get a sock from the top of a dryer, you know? You gotta spin the wheel, and even then it's just too much work. Yeah, I think
Staying firm.
I think for me, I don't know. Now I'm kind of on the idea of a big spoon, but a big wooden spoon, like
Use like a
splinters.
garden hoe or something.
Like-
It's like something that's like barely anything to it.
Right.
I don't understand the question.
Yeah. No,
Yeah,
I didn't word
barely
it the best. I'll
understand
say.
it, but yeah.
I was trying to throw
the.
the concept, and I couldn't get the question to
Yeah.
play with it. I had it originally, and then I lost it, and then I remember.
Yeah, it's very fitting to this movie.
Yeah.
Without
yeah.
a lot of extra context, you don't really fully understand what
Yeah.
you
I feel like I
Watch
saw
those.
that axe a lot in this movie, but I didn't see it being used
No,
or
but-
carried or really moving at all.
I'm pretty disappointed.
I just
that-
saw
it's
the
a-
axe.
It's an odd axe too.
Yeah.
It's like,
It's like
it
made
doesn't
of
look like it's
Iron.
yeah, it doesn't look like it's really plant like necessarily.
Mhm.
It's just this oddly shaped
Engraved.
axe painted green,
Yeah.
basically. Which, okay, I don't know if I somehow missed this as just like a quick aside. Did the bandits drop the axe and that's how he got it back? Like when did he get the axe back?
He got it from, I thought he got it not from Joel Edgerton. He got
No,
it
he
from
got-
somewhere down the line.
From didn't he get it back from the lady in the pond or whatever from the spirit house? Didn't she?
No.
Isn't that the reward that she gave him?
She didn't give him one, I didn't think, besides just palling around with him as a fox.
I could have sworn that she gave the axe back.
He did get it at some point. But
Yeah.
I thought he
like,
got
it
I
back from
feel
her.
like I somehow missed that, and like
Yeah,
as
I've
slow
kinda
as this
stroked my
movie
way
was
through this
going,
movie,
I
too,
can't
right.
imagine that I missed anything.
I have a new question, a better question.
Yeah. Thank you.
So, what are you guys' thoughts? What does this tree man do for 364 days? Okay, so
I mean,
it is
Dude
suggested.
went to sleep.
Yeah.
Okay,
that's
it is
For sure,
suggested that he
right?
hibernated for
Yeah.
364.
Like a
But in another area that we could talk about, he is going to all of these like council meetings every single day, and he's got
And
like
just,
an agenda.
Oh,
Yeah.
so he's
Every
like lined
day.
up
Yes.
every single day. Somebody shows up.
Yes.
See, I disagree because
Y-
Dev Patel.
sure, the
Dev
roots
Patel,
were there.
Right. Well, it's not even about the roots for me, right?
Okay.
Dev Patel
He
came
was
either like a
there,
day early
yeah.
or a day after. Like he
I couldn't
lingered there
tell.
for a while.
Yeah.
So I think maybe he does like 52. Maybe he does one a week. Because sometimes they show up early, sometimes they don't show up, sometimes
Sure.
they show up and they
Be-
hang out
be
for
cordial,
a while.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
to just like pour water over the whole idea, but
Right.
it was his mom that made the Green Knight.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Oh, that's
he
true.
doesn't actually exist anywhere other than for this.
Yeah, but she has
purpose.
to get bored too. I mean, if you
Yeah.
can make the Green Knight.
This is a pillow talking.
Is there a
scenario.
Blue Knight
Doesn't
somewhere?
work out.
Like that goes to meet people by the ocean?
I mean that's what they were talking about whenever she was going on about like why's he got to be green?
Right, yeah. I'm kind of intrigued. Is there a Red Knight that lays by like a volcano? That's
Yeah,
like
that would be cool. Like the Moana thing.
yeah. Can we do the same exact movie, just
Do
different
a
backdrops?
sequel to this Arthurian tale.
Yes. God, we could shoot that. We could shoot that in a day. I know where to find a volcano.
Okay, we were.
Anyways,
scores
let's
here.
do some scores.
Please.
I'll start.
We
because
can
I'm
just
bored.
make this as long as the movie.
I know. Well, that's the goal. I want the viewers to feel how we
Yeah.
felt watching the movie.
I think they're getting there.
This movie's a 6. So this movie not so great. Pretty long.
Oh, get the button.
Fairly long.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah, I should have painted it green.
Yeah.
The
I
red
retroactively
button.
want to give Excalibur more points for this movie. Because they just did this
You know,
stuff.
Merlin was in this one too.
Was he?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was at
Whenever
the
the
table.
child's
He's one of the
being
people at the
taken,
table, yeah.
he's the guy. He's the old man with like the tattoos under his eyes.
That
Yeah.
just nods.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whenever the green.
But
Knight
could
comes
his
in.
tattoo have been Merlin? Like just
Yeah, it
tattooed
was
on
like
his
just
face?
two crosses or something. That was
Or
kinda
damaged, like
Should've-
you know, from
should've
the
just been,
Joker
like,
from
little
Suicide
tears.
Squad.
boring. Yes, give me teardrop tattoos.
Yeah.
That's
How many
what's up.
dragons has this wizard killed? You know, that's what I
He's a
want.
dragonborn. He just needs a ton of them.
No, so this movie's like so close to like almost doing something cool, and that's my problem with it. Like, is that it's playing modern fantasy and it's doing this in this way that I'm like, all right, the shots are like cool. We're sitting way too long. For like every praise I have, I immediately have something to kind of like critique it for it. And I think it's like why I'm not necessarily diving deeper on this score. It lands in the 6 territories because it was like just good enough at times where I felt like it was just kind of like, all right, this is a cool whimsical idea. There's like a cool idea, and at times they're kind of doing it well. Again, we get to the cabin house with the girl with the head, and I'm like, I actually really enjoyed that part of the movie. I was like, okay, this is definitely like peak for me. Pacing is really good.
She's the one who gave the axe back, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Okay.
So, and she's giving axes back, where he's getting all of his like cool items back and stuff.
After she
I'm
says,
like,
absolutely not, I'm not gonna. What the fuck are you
no, I'm not giving you a reward, but here's your axe.
Here's your axe.
Yeah,
I
because
guess
you got to get it back somehow.
You're kind of cute. cute.
Right, yeah, kind of cute. Look at you, Dev Patel. Yeah. They have a weird Attack on Titan scene that I like. Don't know if I love or hate.
That
All
was
big
the siren
naked Titan.
scene for me.
Yeah.
Where I was just
Oh.
like,
Yeah.
they didn't speak. They spoke, but they
Yeah.
didn't.
But the more I looked at them, the more I started seeing the illusion of the like camera angle, which is just that like you're setting it like
Yeah,
in a distant
that's
way,
true.
and I feel like I was. Then that's again so much of my issue is that I see through too many of the cracks in this armor, if you will. There was too many times where the fantasy started to get broken because they lingered on the shot for too long, or it was just doing not enough to keep me going in the interest of this film. In a lot of ways, I would say it like this: my thoughts about the film mirrored their thoughts about nudity in this film, where there is like a little bit, but it's all shrouded in darkness, and it's kind of hard to see. When you do kind of see it, you're like, okay, and then it's just jizz. So that's my thoughts. It's just jizz. 6 out of 10.
My problem with this movie is that I think it just sucks. I mean, it's really long for a movie, again, that I believe that could be cut down to 45 minutes. So there's an hour and 15 minutes that I believe could really be cut out.
Cut out all the horses.
And but it's just so long and it's so drawn out. It does everything I don't want to in a movie, where I don't care about anyone in this movie, even though I like that the main character is kind of like a jerk and he doesn't grow at all throughout the movie. He's still like, nothing seems earned in this movie. Like, it just kind of seems like stuff happens because it's supposed to happen. It doesn't feel like a natural progression. I don't care about the symbolism of the story or whatever. I care about what is on the screen. And the only thing that was on screen was like beautiful vista shots and a couple of cool like things to look at. Like, I like the opening of this movie. I thought that was really cool, how like they set the head on fire of that thing and like this is the story of something. I thought that was cool, and I thought the Green Knight himself was really cool. I didn't think for a second like he was like CG or like wasn't real. Like he was
Until
really
that
cool.
little bit of Joel Edgerton resembling he starts to do at the end to show that they're supposed to be like that a similar character.
See, I never caught this. I never
Yeah.
caught any of this. I didn't catch there's an unreliable narrator. I didn't
Yeah.
catch about any of that because the movie doesn't show you in a good way. Like, it feels like the movie was, all the focus was on the cinematography. It was all show, no substance. And that is the opposite of what I want from a movie. I want all substance, and there doesn't have to be anything to show. I don't care. Like, if there's something good to chew on, that makes a good movie for me. That's why I like you all said, like Tarantino movies. His scenes do last a long time. And a lot of times not for a good reason, but I love the dialogue and the characters that they portray in the movie. And this movie is just too long, nothing much to look at. This movie...
I want to wait. I want to ask you one question.
Well,
Would
the
you
funny
rather
you say one!
Would you rather watch Excalibur or this again?
Oh, God.
Which one would you rather watch again?
Probably Excalibur, because
Shut up.
Because
Check the scores on this.
No,
one.
shit.
I want you to check the
because
scores.
Excalibur like is interesting. Like at the beginning, a woman gets
Oh!
like
Gets
gets
raped
raped
by a
at the
man in
beginning.
full
Like,
armor.
what in the world is happening
I
right
think he
now?
hooks up with his mom at one point in that movie too.
There's all kinds of
Yeah, it's
insane
incest.
shenanigans.
Yeah.
They're both terrible. And like I said before, if I could retroactively give Excalibur a lower score, I would.
You gave it a 1.5.
They both
I'm
suck.
pretty sure.
So-
Oh,
Let's hear how. I want to hear where the Green Knight lands then on this.
Well,
on this
he
premise.
said one. Right?
Yeah.
Did you say
Yeah.
one? Okay.
yeah, it's a 1. This
Okay.
movie I think is dreadful.
So we all agree that Excalibur should. Well, so far, me and you, that Excalibur should have a higher score. Got it. Good enough. Mason, go ahead.
I will agree with Dylan, but disagree with Price.
Yeah,
I
that's a
would
good way
rather
to go.
watch Green Knight again. Excalibur is rough. But for Dylan's, his 6th category is, I think, pretty accurate for mine, where it's like, this movie was really fun to look at. I didn't think it lingered on way too long. I thought it lingered in quite a few little areas.
Cranberries amount of lingering.
Yeah, that level. R.I.P. But, I don't know. Dude, you're just playing.
You're playing music, bro. Wait. Oh, I did that.
He's got
Um,
wand control.
I called it
You
music.
probably-
Hogwarts.
Wingardium Musicos.
Yeah, nice.
That's a
Um,
neat.
Anyways, it's a 6 for me as well. It's not as dreadful as we tried to lead on, I don't think. But I cannot wait to hear what Nathan says.
I do too. I am excited.
I think this is an interesting movie. I don't think that it's a movie that you can like enjoy in isolation. I think you really need all the extra context for it to like be interesting. And I know that's the thing that you don't like.
You hate that.
But it's the thing that I
Price hates
actually
reading.
do tend to like quite often.
And that's up to
The weird thing about this movie is, it's a hero's journey where the hero is like not growing as a person, is not good at anything, and never really changes or improves until the very last moment where it's like he almost just kind of gives up, realizing his like futility against like his struggle against just dying without
Everything.
having really done anything meaningful.
Even his flashback in his mind, he's like, "Oh yeah, I just do suck."
Yeah.
He's a
Yeah.
terrible king. Everybody hates him.
And
Why
it's,
am I
it's,
King
it's
riding?
so weird with all the extra context of knowing that the entire time that he's going on this journey, it's what his mom has set out as obstacles in his path to try and make him develop.
He
And
fails
she's
all of them.
actively watching him the whole time.
keep
Yeah, she's the
showing
old
clips of
lady.
her.
She's the fox. She's the old lady with the blindfold on. Like, she's with him the whole time. The thing with the giants, the reason the fox growls at the giants is because he's trying to cheat. Like, basically, he's trying to cheat and skip by having them carry him
He
on
asked
their
her
shoulders.
ride on the shoulders.
Right.
Yeah, and she's like, no, you're going to follow this path. You're going to become a better person. And he never does.
Did you catch that either?
No.
Me either.
Of course I didn't.
Because it wasn't in
It
color.
wasn't show-
Did you? Yeah. If you turn the subtitles on, it literally just says "Fox Mom."
Yeah,
Hey,
it's
hey,
It's like-
Price, this is
Yeah.
the fox. She's
Yeah.
actually the mother.
Yeah. Here, Price. Is what it says.
yeah, just the context subtitles.
Right.
I mean,
What-
this
what
movie
this
could
just
probably
means
benefit from
is-
something like
It
that.
yeah, I mean, yeah.
So I don't hate this movie, but it's very much a subversion of the classic hero's journey, and it like I don't ultimately I guess I don't really enjoy that so much. Like even given all the extra context and the fact that it is like a historically near accurate story contemporary to the time that it was in, which is really interesting because it's such a weird tale for as old as it is, and for it not to like be a story about a night that ends well, right? Yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm gonna land at like a 6 with it as well.
Yeah,
Right.
6.
But for me, that 6 is, I feel like
It's
higher
very different.
rating than what
Their
you
6
guys.
is really like a 3.5
Like,
or
to
4.
me,
No, it is
this
not.
this
Yes,
No,
it
it is
is.
not. We would give a 3.5.
I've been doing this
for
with you all for like 5 years. I know your score.
I kind of enjoyed this movie. It's just
Yeah, I
fell
was gonna say.
short.
And like
in a lot of
3.5 and
areas.
4 is not that bad. It's just
No,
a
it
little
is.
below
That's failing.
average.
No, below.
It is
well,
failing.
Okay, so 5 is average. So 4 would be below average. 3.5 is like, this movie stinks. This movie is super bad.
Smells like Price's shoe after the
Yeah,
farm.
exactly. He's got the poo-poo shoes and the poo-poo pants on, and those are
Got
all
my big boy pants.
Yeah.
You guys want to see what Metacritic or
Yeah,
whatever
what do
it
the
was?
critics think about this? Because I remember thinking this was getting a lot of mixed reviews on, like, I would hear from some people they really like this movie, and I heard from other people they could not stand this movie.
I mean, it is deaf enough for everyone, right? Like,
Yeah,
I mean,
so I think it's a
I
polarized.
wasn't singing any of its praises last week.
So you haven't been singing
Yeah,
praises for a
you-
while.
You prefaced this whole
Can't wait for Marriage
discussion
Story.
by
Mhm.
not having a good opinion
Oh,
about
that's
it.
exactly where I would guess it was at.
What is it?
Tomato meter was 89%, and then the audience right in the middle of the road, 50%. So
Yeah. That
Which
tracks.
that's pretty low because if
Oh,
we're
yeah,
talking
yeah.
scorings on Rotten Tomatoes,
that's
they're more similar to your all scoring. than
Right,
to
well, because they get
Planet
it.
Prices.
they
Yeah.
get it.
Yeah. This movie. eh.
All right.
All right,
Set it up.
Mason actually gets to spin because we.
Right.
All right.
Go
let's
for
see.
it.
Let's see.
what you got?
Let's do it.
Show me what you got.
Swiss Army Man.
Swiss Army Man.
That one's actually Dylan's.
Hey, that's a me.
Summarize this movie by just.
We took a break from Daniel Radcliffe to come back for Daniel Radcliffe farting. I've never watched this movie.
Have you not?
I've seen the trailer
Wow.
a bajillion
I've seen
times.
nothing
I
about
have for
this.
some reason.
Oh yeah.
Bro, this seems like a movie you would have watched. Based on the trailer, Daniel Radcliffe farting and he's riding him as a jet ski. I'm like, no, that seems like you're waiting for Will Ferrell to get into this flick.
Swiss Army Man 2.
Yeah.
Tim and John C. Reilly.
I mean, frankly, like, I would not be surprised you saw this trailer and said, yeah, I'm gonna go watch this movie.
I did.
Yeah. Which is why it's
Is
put me
John C.
off from
Reilly in
this
this?
for... No.
No,
I don't know. I
I
could
don't
see
know.
him being in it.
The funny thing is the trailer put me off from the movie for so long where I was like, this just feels too, like, fart humor out of left field with it.
Turn me on.
And I've only gone back for, I know, what usually goes right for you goes left for me. Is that, but what I have circled back to this is because it's a Daniels flick, and after watching Everything Everywhere All at Once, I kind of want to go back through their catalog and see, like, what
It would be
movies-
nice to compare.
Yeah, like, and that's kind of been my, like, big drive on. I'm like, let's see what more from these directors are doing. But without further ado, make sure to tune in next week for Swiss Army Man. If you like the content we're doing, as always, let us know in the comments below. Would you prefer Excalibur? Does Price need subtitles to tell him what the symbolism all means? Yes. If Kelly would stop reading her book, maybe she would just explain movies to Price and he would like it more, but she won't.
She knew it all along. She just said this movie sucks.
Yeah. She looked at this movie for 5 seconds and said, sucks. And read her book about what I presume is Latin romance. If you like the content we're
Close. Oui. Right?
Buongiorno.
Right?
doing, Buongiorno.
Margarita.
If you like the content we're doing, make sure to give us a thumbs up. And if you want to see when we drop these movie video reviews at any given moment, oh, I'm right here, buddy.
Hit that bell.
Give you a good thigh slap.
Yeah.
Chunky.
Yeah, I know, rippled. Anyway, guys, make sure to tune in next week for Swiss Army Man, Daniel Radcliffe, the Daniels. Man, it's a lot of Daniels, actually.
Mm-hmm.
That's 3 Daniels in that movie.
Paul Dano.
Yeah?
Audience, say bye to everybody.
Bye!
Toodles.
Chili didn't say bye.
I wasn't paying attention.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
You guys are like a sitcom, like we're your laugh track.
Yeah. Why weren't you guys
Well,
laughing?
yeah.